My wife gave birth to a black baby that clearly isn't mine, and I'm divorcing her, but I'm worried about the relationship between my two kids and their new half-sister. We're both white, so she was forced to admit that the child was a result of a one-night stand last year. I've started divorce proceedings, although we're still living together for now. Between our two boys, ages 2 and 4, I've had paternity tests for them, and they came back positive. Her infant daughter, and her having lost her job due to COVID, living together as amicably as possible until the divorce is settled, is an unfortunate necessity. Naturally, I have no ill will towards the baby, and I've been disgusted by some of the comments I've heard from family members, friends, coworkers, and others, all who seem to be fixated on the racial angle of this. As if the most salient part of this isn't that my wife cheated, but that she cheated with a black man and that the baby is black. What really worries me is that my two sons might pick up on these narratives. They're too young to really understand what's happening now, but I'm worried that as they grow to understand the situation, that they might resent their half-sister for breaking up their parents' marriage. And worse, that their resentment might express itself in a racist fashion under the influence of the aforementioned racist narratives. Any thoughts on how I should try to influence my sons away from that perspective? It probably doesn't help that we live in a suburb with very few black people, and their half-sister is really the only black person my children know. Update 1. The big takeaway for me was that if I'd need to lead by example here, not excluding her in any way because of her paternity, so that she and my sons would see her as a full member of the family. Also, that I need to be more active in confronting the bigoted and ignorant nonsense I've been hearing, and teach my sons to do the same to protect their sister. I've spoken to some of those responsible since and made clear my feelings on this, and that she is to be treated as a member of the family. And that if I ever find out that they've said things like that to my sons or their sister, that they won't be allowed around us anymore. I've spoken to my wife about this, and we're more or less on the same page. She's been begging me to forgive her and not go through the divorce, but that's not going to happen. Even if I didn't consider the cheating unforgivable, I just don't feel any love for her anymore, other than a platonic affection for her as the mother of my children. My sons are handling this as well as can be expected. The 4-year-old doesn't fully understand, but is upset by the change in the household. Thankfully, he's easily distracted. The 2-year-old is thankfully too young to comprehend what's going on, but has definitely picked up on how withdrawn his mother has become. They're both fascinated with their new little sister, so there's that silver lining. My wife, on the other hand, isn't in good shape at all. She was depressed even before the birth, and now with everything, our divorce, her infidelity being revealed, and the backlash from family and friends, postpartum depression, and the exhaustion from raising an infant, she's barely functional. She's seeing a therapist, and I've been pressuring some of our family and friends to be supportive of her because even if they think she deserves it, her current state is making it harder for me and our children. It's become very obvious to me that even after the divorce is finalized, we're going to have to live together for a while longer. She's in no shape to be taking care of 3 kids without someone else around to support her, and I'm not willing to deprive her of her sons by seeking sole custody. It's also too difficult financially, since she's lost her job because of COVID. As for the baby girl, she's healthy and fairly easy by baby standards. Since I've been helping care for her, I've bonded with her, and I've discussed the possibility of adopting her with my wife. She can't contact the father, as the only thing she knows about him is his first name. And given our co-parenting situation, it feels like adopting her as my daughter would be the best outcome for all involved. However, there's been a wrench thrown in that plan. It was brought to my attention that there may be a way of finding the baby's father, namely by having her DNA tested by Ancestry DNA. If the father or one of his relatives has also taken the test, we may be able to find them through their DNA match database. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not happy about this. I've already started to think of the baby girl as my daughter, and having him in our lives would massively complicate the family dynamic. Plus, we live in Seattle, and she met him in Philadelphia, so God knows how they'd even make it work if he wanted to be the kid's father. However, I recognize that this is a selfish reaction. If we have a chance of finding her biological father, we owe it to her to do so, if only so that she has access to her paternal medical history and so that she can have a relationship with him if and when she chooses to do so. I've read a few accounts by children raised by non-biological parents, and a common thread is their desire to meet their lost biological parent. So that's that. We've ordered an Ancestry DNA kit for her, and I guess we'll decide our next steps once we get the results back in a couple of months. I'm glad to see the pieces are falling into place for you, OP, and ending up as well as they can in these horrible situations. Stay strong and live your best life, and be the best version of yourself you can be. Our next story is about my, male 24, long-term girlfriend, female 22, cheated on me, got pregnant, but everyone around me keeps pressuring me to stay with her. So we grew up together in a small town, known each other for our whole life, and eventually fell in love when she was 17 and moved to the city together 2 years ago. I work as a carpenter, and she's still at university. 2 weeks ago, she suddenly dropped the news that she's 3 weeks pregnant. I know for sure it cannot be mine because I always use protection and never have sex under alcohol or drug influence. I don't drink or smoke. So I pressured her, and she confessed that she slept with an exchange student during a school vacation trip. She said he's been hitting on her for weeks, but the sex was unplanned. That's why he didn't have condom prepared, and she didn't have pills ready. And it's only a one-time thing, and she has no feeling for the guy anymore. I was totally shocked, but after a day, I decided that I can't stay in this relationship anymore. First, I am not ready to raise a child that is not my own. Second, I don't know if I'm able to forgive her for betraying me, at least not at the moment. So I break it off, ask my boss if I can stay at the worker rooms, for temporary workers, at the warehouse, and let my girlfriend stay at our place till she finds a house. I pay full rent because only I work. So eventually, our families and our mutual friends got the news, and now they are all pressuring me to get back with my girlfriend, except for my sister who supports me. They say it's wrong to abandon her at a time like this, especially my dad, who I had a fight with every 2 days because of this. He said he knows she's a good girl, just a young person's mistake, that I should stay with her and give the child for adoption. And my friends keep messaging me, convincing me to take her back. One of them even accuses me because I'm the reason she moved to the city, so it's my responsibility. Now, I am heartbroken, lonely, and shattered. Feels like the whole world doesn't give me a single about how I feel. I just want to move to a new city and start everything from zero, but don't have the courage. Maybe some advice from you guys would ease the stress. OP, your friends are being ridiculous. Listen to me. It doesn't matter if it was a one-time thing. This girl cheated on you and then was hoping you wouldn't realize that you couldn't have got her pregnant. She was going to pretend like you were the father. She cheated and lied and was going to let you raise a child that isn't yours without you knowing. She only told you because you pushed. Kick her out of your apartment and tell her to go live with her baby daddy. You owe her nothing, and now she clearly isn't a nice person. And our final story of today's episode. My wife of 7 years cheated on me, and now everyone in my circle, friends, her parents, and my parents are suggesting me to take her back. I met my wife 10 years ago. We both were in college, dated for 3 years, and married for 7. She is a beautiful and amazing person, and everyone in my family loves her. 4 months ago, I found out my wife was having an affair with a mutual friend of ours. It was a 1.5-month affair. She was acting very shady at the time. She would ignore my messages, turn me down every time I tried to initiate sex. I thought something was wrong. I did snooping, but found nothing. Eventually, I hired a private investigator, and within 1 week, I had proof. She was having an affair with our mutual friend. I immediately confronted her. She confessed having an affair. Immediately, she started crying, begging, basically all the classic cheater moves when they are caught. I asked her for all the details, with a detailed timeline. At night, she gave me everything. Basically, she was using another phone for having an affair. She told me she had sex with him only 4 times, and the rest of the time, they were just hanging out and having fun. 3 days later, more crying and talking crap about herself, she told me that she had deleted all contacts with him and would do whatever it takes to make our marriage work. She suggested marriage counseling. I denied. I told her to leave me alone. I was hurt, betrayed, humiliated. She moved out to her parents. She started texting me every hour how much she loves me and how she regrets this and will do anything to save our marriage. After completely ignoring her for 2 days, I texted her that we were getting a divorce. She freaked out and started having an emotional breakdown. My phone started blowing up with her parents, sister, friends, telling me not to end the marriage and at least give her a chance. Later that day, she made a long post on Facebook explaining how she f***ed up and how she destroyed her marriage, basically admitting her affair publicly. But I was rock solid on my decision. She even insisted on having a lie detector test to clear my doubts, that she never cheated in the past, blah, blah, blah. I asked her for some time alone to process all this. We have been living separately since. This was all 4 months ago. Last week, I asked her for a divorce, and she started crying, begging for another chance. After that, she visited my parents and asked them to convince me not to divorce. Last night, my parents and her parents tried to convince me to work things out. And after she made her Facebook post, almost all of our mutual friends were telling me how she was brave to admit her affair and that she loves me and I should at least give her a chance. I'm on the edge of having a breakdown. She is truly remorseful and regrets this. I can assure you this, I do love her and her cheating on me hurts the most. I don't know what to do. For anyone who has reconciled, how are things going? Update 1. We don't have kids. We were planning to have kids after this pandemic was over. We both own a business and we work together. I haven't talked to her in almost 3 months, only business-related stuff. I decided, talked to my parents, I called them, and told them that I was going for a divorce. An hour later, she called me crying not to end it, and told me at least meet her in person. Since the divorce day, I haven't seen her or talked about the affair. Every time we talked, I ignored the talk about the affair. She told me she'll explain everything. At least hear her side of the story, and after hearing it, whatever decision I'll take, she'll respect that. Since I don't know what was going on and don't have much information about the affair, it will be like closure for me. So I decided to meet her on Sunday. That's it. Nothing dramatic. Update 2. As decided, we both met on Sunday. She was quite miserable. I haven't seen her in a while. We talked about our relationship. I asked her to take down her Facebook post, which she did. I asked her about the affair, why she cheated on me. She told me that she was dumb and selfish at the time. She didn't blame me for any affair. She told me that they were casually talking and he started talking about his affairs. She showed me text messages of them both where he was bragging about his fun life outside of marriage. She told me she was curious and one thing led to another. There were several texts where he was guiding my wife how to hide the affair. He suggested she buy another phone and always keep it in the car. I took screenshots of everything. She then asked for her forgiveness. I forgave her, but I couldn't get past this. Divorce was my default option from the beginning. She begged to try marriage counseling. She also told me that she will never date anyone else ever again. If she does, it would be me. I don't really care. We'll still work together, as this is our both dream project. As for a mutual friend, last I heard was his wife and he decided to reconcile, as kids were involved. I really feel sad for his wife. She didn't know what kind of monster he is. We are getting a divorce. I've decided not to be in a relationship ever again. She acts sorry, but ultimately you only found out about this because you hired a PI. She had no intention of confessing it to you. I'm glad you're not giving her a second chance. Go find someone that can give you respect